Hello everyone, I'm Sarah and welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video I'm going to be showing you how to crochet the dual cowl crochet pattern. And this is a very unique and fun yarn, and we'll talk more about the yarn in just a minute. But you're going to need some super bulky yarn. So get ready for some fun because this stitches up quickly. It's comfortable to wear and it's also very classy. It measures 25 inches around and it's about 7 inches deep. So it's not a real big cowl. It's just enough to give you a little warmth and flair. I love the Go For Faux yarn. I think it's beautiful on this project, and you're really going to love this yarn because it does stitch up super quick. Now you can find the free crochet pattern on my blog, and I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. This cowl is designed using Go For Faux Duo by Lionbrand, and you can make this with just one skein. And what this is within this one skein of yarn, you're going to get the chunky number 6 yarn and the chunky number 7 Go For Faux yarn. It's a really fun yarn because you're getting that chunky acrylic yarn and it's hooked together with the Go For Faux yarn. So you begin with the acrylic bulky 6 and you end with the Go For Faux number 7. Now, if you don't have one of these Go For Faux duos, you can still make this cowl. You just need to have 3.5 ounces of a bulky number 6 yarn, any color, any shade, as long as it's a bulky number 6. And then you need to have 3.5 ounces of a Go For Faux or a fuzzy, furry type yarn that's a bulky number 7. 3.5 ounces of each kind, or you can make this with one of these Go For Faux duos. We're going to be stitching today with our end hook. And this end hook is a 10mm crochet hook. It's a nice big chunky hook because we're using a nice big chunky yarn. Now I have my needle out here with the great big eye on it. When I weave in my acrylic yarn, I use this needle. When I weave in the fur, I use the crochet hook. But don't worry, I'll show you all about that. And then of course you're going to need your scissors. Before we get started on our cowl, I want to talk to you a little bit about the faux fur bulky number 7 yarn. It seems a little bit scary to work with, but what I'm going to do when we get to this portion of the video where we add the fur trim, I'm going to walk you through it and show you how to find those stitches that you made. All right, so don't let the fur portion keep you from trying this project. We're going to begin by stitching 51 foundation double crochets. So we're going to begin with our slip knot and we're going to chain 4. There we go. We're going to stitch our first foundation double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. So we're going to yarn over, go in, pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and only go through the first loop. We've made our chain. Now we're going to yarn over, go through the next 2, yarn over and go through the next 2. Now we've made our chain and our double crochet. Yarn over, go in that chain that we made, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first loop, yarn over, and finish off our double crochet. And so we're going to count this chain 3 as our first stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you need to stitch 51 foundation double crochets. I've stitched my 51 foundation double crochets. I'm going to join to that chain 3 and make sure you do not twist. You want to keep it nice and flat with no twists in it. Now you'll notice there's an opening here. We'll come back in and close that later. So we join to our chain 3. And chain 3. Now for row 2, our chain 3 here counts as 1 double crochet. So we're going to double crochet in the next stitch. We'll double crochet in the next stitch. There we go. And then in the next stitch, we're going to front post double crochet. And that means we're going to stitch around the post of the stitch and not up in the top. So we'll yarn over, we'll go around that post and stitch a double crochet. And so what we're going to do is we're going to repeat around 1 double crochet in the next 3 double crochets. And then front post double crochet in the next. And this is our repeat for row 2. 1 double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, 3, and then front post double crochet in the next. And we'll repeat this working all the way around our cowl. So I have completed that row working 1 double crochet in the next 3, front post double crochet in the next, and repeat all the way around. I'm going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. And now what we're going to do is just repeat what we did on row 2. Our chain 3 counts as our first. Then we'll double crochet in the next 2. Front post double crochet around the front post double crochet. 1 double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, 3, and then we'll front post around the front post and repeat. 1, 2, 3, and front post double crochet around the front post double crochet. And we'll repeat this, working all the way around our cowl and join back to our chain 3. And look how quickly that's stitching up. Isn't that fun? I completed row 3, stitching 1 double crochet in the next 3, front post double crochet in the front post all the way around. I joined to my chain 3 and chained 3. And so what we're going to do is we're going to repeat row 3 2 more times. We're going to join, chain 3, and do our repeats of 3 double crochets and front post double crochet, join, and repeat that again. And so we're going to be repeating row 3 for 2 more rows. I have repeated row 3 for 2 more rows, and this is the way your cowl should look at this point. Now I have more yarn left, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this. And I'm going to bring in my Go For Faux yarn. And here's where I cut it here because I have extra yarn on here. Plus, I want to save a piece of that yarn to help make the pom-pom that we're going to add at the end. All right, so what we're going to do is we're just going to bring in our Go For Faux, snug that down, and I'm going to pull this just a little to give me a little bit to weave in at the end and make things secure. All right, I'm going to bring the camera in closer so you can see what I'm doing with the Go For Faux fur. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to make a chain 1. We're going to skip this next stitch and we're going to single crochet in this next one. So we'll go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through. That's our single crochet. Now we're making chain 1s in between because that's going to help us find our stitches on the next row. So chain 1, skip the next stitch, and single crochet in the next. Now as you're working this, don't pull too tightly. You want it to be loose and lay nicely. All right, so I'm wrapping my yarn, chain 1, skipping the next, single crochet in the next. Nice and loosely, and it's going to lay really pretty. All right, so chain 1, skip 1, single crochet. Chain 1, skip 1, single crochet in the next. And we'll repeat this working all the way around the edge of our cowl. I have repeated chain 1, skip 1, single crochet all the way around the top of my cowl. All right, so here is my last stitch, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, and we're not going to join. What we're going to do is we're going to find with our fingers that first chain 1 space and single crochet in the chain 1 space, chain 1. Okay, so here's where we stitch, then we'll find that next chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 1. Okay, so here's where we stitched, then we'll find that next chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 1. So you're going to need to use your fingers to find where we put that chain 1 space, and that's why that chain 1 space was so important. We're not joining on the fur portion. We're stitching in the round, and we're going to stitch in those chain 1 spaces, single crochet, chain 1 in the chain 1 spaces, single crochet, chain 1. Here's my next chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 1. And isn't that pretty? And we'll do this all the way around. There's my chain 1, here's my chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 1, single crochet in the chain 1 space, and chain 1. And we'll continue to do this all the way around where we started. I've worked around stitching the single crochet in the chain 1 spaces, chain 1, and I'm back around where we started, and I'm not going to join again. I'm just going to find those chain 1 spaces and just repeat what we were doing. So here's my chain 1 space, single crochet, chain 1. Okay, then you just use your finger, your thumb like I do here, and go in that chain 1 space. And that's why that chain 1 space is so important in between our single crochets. And so basically what we're doing is we're just repeating the last row we did. On row 6 we did single crochet in the chain 1 spaces, chain 1, and then for row 7 we're just repeating row 6. So I have completed the repeat for the 3rd row, and so I'm just going to pull that through like that. I'm going to bring my crochet hook and pull it to the inside, and then I'm just going to sort of weave it through, and this going through some stitches, I'm going to pull that through Then I'm going to go another way and pull that through. And I just keep doing that back and forth until I'm happy that that's going to stay put. And of course I'll have to do this end as well. And that's how it's going to look with 3 rows. And this is how the cowl looks. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows of our acrylic chunky number 6 yarn, and then 3 rows of our Go For Faux. It makes a nice size cowl. But I had a little bit of my fur left, and so I wanted to make a little pom-pom, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Really simple, and then attach it to our cowl. I've cut a piece of my acrylic yarn about 12 inches long. I'm going to take my Go For Faux, and I'm going to wrap it around my hand about 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I'm going to cut that. And then I'm going to take this and wrap it around those loops. And I'm going to tie this nice and secure. Now, with the Go For Faux yarn, I might pull it around and get it adjusted. I like it to be kind of weird and floofy. Like this one's a little long, so I'll try to pull that wherever that's attached to. But I don't cut these, because if you cut these, you end up with all this mess everywhere and they start to come apart. And so I leave it together just like that. All right, here's the other one I made. You can see I left it all together. It's all floofy. We're going to add our pom-pom, and the way that I do that is I don't wrap it completely around like this. All I do is I take my hook and I pull one of those strings right there where the fur and the acrylic meet, and I pull it to the back, and then I go to the back and tie a bow. I gently pull that in just a little, and then I just tie a bow. That way if I want to take it off, I can. Now this is my demo, but the last thing that you need to do is close up that opening where we first started with our foundation double crochet row. I've already closed it up on my actual cowl that's up here, but I'm going to show you how to do that. And what you do is you thread that tail of yarn on a needle, and then you go across and you just make some whip stitches like this, and then I go in, go to the inside, and do that a few more times, making sure that's going to stay closed. And then you can just clip that off. And so you see it's really simple to make the dual cowl that has chunky acrylic yarn and chunky Go For Faux yarn together.